Hello, everyone. Good to see you this Friday afternoon. Well, hello, Juliet. She says hello and happy 4th of July weekend from Illinois. Yes, well, happy 4th of July weekend to everybody in the U.S. and happy voting. Um, the UK voted in a new prime minister, I believe. I may have that. Do I have that title correct? Help me out here, people. And the world is up and down, in and out, shall we say. I want to also read, just in case somebody doesn't read, my comment that's pinned at the top. And basically, what it says is, I'm very grateful for all of your comments. Thank you. However, in the predictions last week, there were some rah comments and then the name of the person they're going to vote for. And you know what? Stop it. Just stop it. Today's question is political. And if you can't comment respectfully, don't comment. If you don't like what I have to say, don't watch, don't listen. That's all right. I hope, though, if you do listen, you'll listen all the way to the end. Phillip always has messages for us at that very end, doesn't he? And of course, we will also get a message from Phillip from one of my books, The Master's Book of Answers by Phillip, which is just an oracle book, and we just open to any page and get our message for the week. So in the U.S., as you know, as well as many other places, we are in political upheaval. And I live with hope. That's not to say I never feel despair, but I tend to live with hope. So I think that probably comes through in my messages, even from Phillip, because I think he helps me out here. Let's say hello to those of you who are with us. We said hello to Juliet. Sheila says hello, Diana and Piper. And Sheila's coming in from Amsterdam. Rush says hello, Diana, Piper, and friends. Hello, Rush. Rush, help us remember where you're from. I know you've told us, and I'm so sorry, I forget. Akila says, hi, everyone. She's from Georgia. I know Akila and Juliet and Sheila because they come to Sacred Circle. And Juliet has studied with me in other programs here in Ohio as well. And Sheila says, hello, everyone. And Rosemarie, hello, thank you. Rosemarie, I don't think we've heard from you before. Or if we have, please forgive me. Sometimes my memory isn't what it used to be, especially when I'm sitting here staring at myself in the camera. And of course, you see who's behind me here. Wait a minute. See, I have to go the opposite direction of the way I am. And there she is. Rush says, Northern Virginia. Okay, thank you. Oh, that's some beautiful country down there in Northern Virginia. And not that far. It's like you go to Washington, D.C., and it's this hustle and bustle, and then you get into Northern Virginia. And depending upon where you are there, you can breathe. So thank you, Rush. We're glad you're with us. Okay, here's our question for the week. What advice can you give us for coping with feelings of helplessness and frustration that may arise when we observe people who appear to escape justice and consequences of their actions? Hello, Guida. She says, hi, Diana from Woodridge, Illinois. Well, we have two Illinois, no S on Illinois, two from Illinois. Let me say it that way. That's easier today. So good to have you with us. Thank you. Okay, here's what Phillip has to say about how do we deal with that frustration? How do we deal with seeing injustice taking place, seeing people who it's been shown that they commit crimes and they get by with it? Here's what Phillip has to say. Although this appears to be a political question, it is not. It is a humanitarian question. I found that interesting, the way Phillip started with that. By the way, it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when I was writing this answer out this morning. And it was like, wow, there were things in here that surprised even me. So I think you'll like what he has to say. So although this appears to be a political question, it is not. It is a humanitarian question. And that was the first thing that surprised me. But when I thought about it, I thought, yeah, he's right. Let us explain why we say this. First, the legal system in most countries favors those who are in power. True. Those who hold the power are those who have the most resources and those who have the characteristics of these people who have the resources. So what he's saying there, whatever the resources are, whether it's whatever the exchange in the US and in most countries, I think, it's money. And the more money you have, the less you're held accountable for. For example, in the US, this is the male species who has white skin. When resources, again, resources being money and whatever, and power are worshipped, those who do not worship such will be treated with dignity, and those who do not worship such will not be treated with dignity and respect. Thus, the legal system is harsher on people of non-white skin, for example, and those with white skin, and especially those of power and influence, have an advantage in the legal system. So far, we know this, right? He's confirming what we already know. Now, as you have stated, you, and he's speaking to me, Diana, here, wish to help people bring their spiritual life into the mundane world, so to live for a higher purpose. And I think even though he's speaking to me there, he's speaking for all of us who care about better lives for ourselves, for our children, for the world, for all people in the world. Phillip goes on to say, when living from the spirit self, the human self experiences life in a more joyful and fulfilling way. This is not to say one doesn't experience the pain of human form. Of course you do. That's why you take human form, to experience human life. This includes the shadows as well as the light. It is difficult to experience injustice, whether in your community, in your country, or in the world. We acknowledge the pain of this for those who have tender hearts of caring about others. We understand we have not yet addressed the question. We will, however. We have a wee bit more background to cover. We have before spoken of the time of Earth's development into the new age of enlightenment. That shift was made. Humans tend to think once the shift was made, life would be sweeter. Yes, it is, but this does not mean easier. Creation brings chaos. This is the nature of change. Change brings fear to those people who fear losing what they worship, power. This power makes them feel safe, immune to human repercussions. The irony is they know no joy of human life experience. During this time of change, which was predicted by many, those who led lives of evil and those who led lives of love have been called out of spirit world to battle in the human world. I have to tell you, when I read that, when I wrote that, I heard the callings from some who we would consider evil. I'm going to even say that. And I heard them call into the depths of spirit world, come. And I feel and have felt for some time, and many have said this, not just me, the U.S. is now repeating what we saw and experienced in 1930 Germany. And this is, if those who were in spirit world are now white adults in the human world. And I say white because it is primarily white people. Not to say that there are not other non-whites, but it is primarily white people. that are leading this and causing the disruption. And it is against the white people, against many people of color, many people brown, red, black. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is based out of fear. And if you think a leader will lead you into good times, into loving, humane times, who is openly so prejudiced against people who are non-white, please think again. Just had to add my little bit in there. All right, Phillip goes on to say, this accounts for why turmoil you feel is so deep. So how do you cope with the feelings of helplessness and frustration that may arise when you observe people who appear to escape justice and consequences of their action? Our words are for your witnessing these injustices in your communities, your country, and your earth world. First, recognize you are feeling helpless and frustrated. If we can't recognize that, if we're not aware of that, we can't do anything about it. So Phillip says, first, recognize you're feeling helpless and frustrated. These are helpful emotions. Those who are unable to have these feelings when witnessing an injustice do not have the ability to experience love-based emotions, such as empathy, to any degree at all. They are younger souls, more caught in the physical world than living through their spirit self. So be grateful. You can experience helplessness and frustration when witnessing an injustice. Next, once you recognize these feelings, look deeper and also bigger. To look deeper, allow your spirit self to soothe you. As you allow your spirit self to add soothing calm, you will also be given insight as to those actions you are to take to right the wrongs and to help bring forth the true age of enlightenment, the age of loving kindness for all. To bring forth the calm, look to Earth's nature, then use the power of your emotions to take appropriate action. Actions may be a prayer, a vote, or a speech. Even a whisper to another has a powerful vibration, reverberation. Remember, all is energy, and the energy of love is always more powerful than fear, hate, or evil. Not all happens instantly, but that does not mean your energy of a smile is wasted. Indeed, it is not, for the energy of your heart reverberates across time and throughout eternity, creating the world of equality and equal justice. I'm going to read that again, those last couple of paragraphs. Let me start here. To bring forth the calm, look to Earth's nature. Then use the power of your emotions to take appropriate actions. When Phillip says there, look to Earth's nature, the way I interpret that is when something is really getting to me and I need to calm down, I step outside and I look at the sky and I listen to the birds, and that just changes me immediately. I feel the love. Okay? Actions may be a prayer, a vote, or a speech. Even a whisper to another has a powerful reverberation. Remember, all is energy, and the energy of love is always more powerful than fear, hate, or evil. Not all happens instantly, but that does not mean your energy of a smile is wasted. Indeed, it is not, for the energy of your heart reverberates across time and throughout eternity, creating the world of equality and equal justice. So, my friend, if you haven't already, please do listen to the predictions for July. They're basically telling you to hold the earth in love. And I want to say that's what we need to do today. We need to smile at each other. We need to be kind to each other. We need to have empathy for those souls who aren't on their spiritual journey and recognize they still need to be loved. Hold others accountable, hold our boundaries, but absolutely we want to hold others in love, even if we disagree. And you will notice in the comments, I have been known to hold my boundaries and push back, but still send love. SV, hi all from Sharon in Texas. Hello, Sharon. Good to have you with us today. And Sheila says, thank you, Diana, with rainbows and sparkly hearts. And Juliet says, very beautiful and helpful. Thank you. And Rush says, love your t-shirt. Thank you, Rush. I don't know if you can read it, but it's an autism shirt. It's a shirt for autism, children for autism. And my niece actually gave it to me. It's okay to be different. And I'm going to go spend some time. My niece is helping me out with something. And I'm going to go spend time with her this afternoon. But I love the shirt. I love the shirt. So I thought, well, of course I'm going to wear it for today. So it's okay to be different, whether it's because you're autistic, which is the lower small print is for autism. So regardless of how you're different, it's okay to be different. I'm glad I am. And I think, most of us have never necessarily feel we fit in to the world. I certainly didn't growing up until I found my place where I live, my place of what I call my place of belonging. And who knows where the next place of belonging is or what the rest of the adventure of life is. But it's okay not to fit in with the majority. It's okay to be different, because that just means you sparkle a little bit more. If you heard left, we're in sync, but I'm also getting a strong right. But the right is a private message for you if you heard right. So left, here's our message for everyone. As you think of yourself, so you become. That's page 266. As you think of yourself, so you become. So if you think of yourself as someone who accepts all human beings with love, but you will hold those who don't face justice accountable for their actions. As you think of yourself, so you become. On page 267, God is the reality behind every appearance. God is the reality behind every appearance. And I want to take a moment just to explain that a little bit more, because you've also heard me say, we're the expression of God. We are the God incarnate. We are our spirit self. So we have all that beauty and that power and that love at our disposal. And never, ever underestimate the power of a smile. I want to say hello to everybody. And then I'm going to tell you a personal story of how a smile changed my life, because I smiled at a stranger and learned how it changed her life. But I want to first of all say, Sheila says, have a great weekend, y'all, with hugs and kisses. And Guida says, thanks, Diana. I know you asked for people to send love to Chicago area. Last weekend was the Pride Parade and there was some arrest. Oh, I didn't know that. All right. I do feel better about Chicago, but let's keep sending that love through this weekend. And maybe that's what was going on with the Pride Parade. I didn't know that. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then she says, Chicago is having a NASCAR race along the lake and traffic is being diverted from that area. That would also make some sense, wouldn't it? I lived in Long Beach. In the last couple of years, they did the race, and it was, I know my nephew my great nephews live in California now, a couple of them, and they love the races, and some from here go out and their dad goes out and they love it. When I lived there, for me, it was a pain in the neck. Okay, here's my story about a prayer. I was a girl at the time. But I say a girl, I was probably 18, 19, something like that. I was in college and I was home for the Christmas holidays. And my mother and I were standing in front of in those days was the Reichs, downtown Dayton, Ohio, the Reichs window, which did this marvelous Christmas. Anybody who lived in the area would come see the window. And it was this marvelous Christmas little figures moving around and everything. And this was before that we had a lot of the AI or anything. This was before computers. Anyway, I was standing beside this woman, and I grew up being taught, don't smile at strangers. It's not safe. Well, I never listened to that, and I always smile at strangers still. And I looked up at this woman, and I felt her heart was so sad. And she saw me looking at her, and she looked down, and I smiled. And I just said, it's okay. Merry Christmas, or something like that. And she burst into tears, and she said, thank you. She had just come from the children's hospital where her daughter was, and the young daughter was very, very ill, and had asked her mother to go look at the exhibit, because the two of them always did that together, and it made the mother feel, the daughter said it would make the mother feel better. And my standing there, and my mother kind of jerking at me saying, stop it. My ignoring my mother and looking at this other mother and smiling. And the other mother telling me how much that smile meant to her. So my friends, please smile. Even when our hearts are hurting, even when we are witnessing that which is unkind and unjust, smile. I love you. Thank you for accepting the love from me to you. And thank you for the love you send to us. May we spread that love around the world. And Rush is sending prayers and hearts and stars. I love you all. I love you all. Thank you. I am so grateful for this community. We are healing the world. And SV says thank you. I love you, my friends. I'll see you next Friday, if not before. Bye for now. And for some reason, the end is not showing up, and normally, there it is, it moved.